Mr. Guillory, Mr. Marks, Mr. Wyckoff, Mr. Pena, Mr. Smith, Mrs. Holm,
Here.
Mr. Stickley.
Here.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Baptiste. If you would, please stand and join Mr. Smith in opening prayer.
Gracious Father, we come first giving you glory, honor, and praise. Father God, we just thank you for another day. Father God, we ask that you bless each and every one of us, oh Father God. And Father God, we just give you the honor and glory. And we hope that, oh Father God, that the city come back as it was. Father God, we ask this in the mighty name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Pledge to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get started today. The item listed as budget workshop was in error, and we do not have any information about the budget workshop. Joni expresses her apologies for doing that, but as you prepare these documents, of course, you have the opportunity to just copy and paste some of it, and sometimes doesn't get deleted, so we don't have anything about the budget. If you would, we'll go to the minutes. All of you have a copy of the minutes from the September 11th meeting. If you've had an opportunity to read it, may I have a motion?
So moved.
It's been moved and second that we approve the minutes of the September 11th board meeting. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. There being no presentations, we'll move to communications. Mr. Baptiste?
Yes, Madam Chairman, board members, you have a communication from the Port Arthur Chamber of Commerce for their monthly luncheon, membership luncheon, Tuesday, October the 24th. And in the past, you guys have gone individually, so if you wish to do that, if y'all would let Joni know, those of you that wish to attend, we'll take care of you guys.
Thank you. We'll go on to non-consent agenda items. Item number 1, to discuss for possible consideration correcting the milestones of the Economic Incentive Agreement with AEJ Entertainment, LLC.
So, take care of them.
Good evening, board members. On AJ Entertainment, this is a contract that you all approved earlier this year, in February, to be more specific. They are an infrastructure type agreement, and let's see, they have until February 15th of 2018 to complete their contract. And if you'll see in the first page there, which are the milestones, we in error had September 15th they were to be complete. So we're asking you all to allow us to correct the milestones to match what the agreement says, to allow them through February 15th to complete their project. Any questions?
So we're only doing this because it was in error. It wasn't for any other reason.
No. If you'll see on the second page, in the actual agreement, I printed out the page where it is highlighted for you that they must complete the infrastructure improvements within 12 months. So 12 months would be February of 2018. So they do hope to have their entire project complete by that date.
I move we allow that correction.
I say, but I do have a question. Does jog my memory, AJ Entertainment it's the restaurant over here on...
Correct. Real Cajun and a distribution warehouse.
There's been a motion and second to approve agenda item number 1. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 2, to discuss for possible consideration the approval of a board member travel for sales tax training.
Yes, Madam Chairman and Commissioners, I think Mr. Guillory is planning on traveling to Mesquite, is that right? For sales tax training, and in the past, we have always come before the board for approval for board members to travel.
Pull your mic.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve Mr. Guillory's travel to the sales tax training. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 3, to discuss for possible consideration entering into a professional services agreement for the screening, assessment, counseling, and employment referral of Port Arthur residents with Southern Staff Solutions.
Madam Chairman, Commissioner, I would ask that we move this to executive session, give time for the attorney to review this before you guys act upon this.
Certainly. Agenda item number 3 will be moved to executive session. Number 4, to discuss for possible consideration entering into a marketing agreement with KFDM Fox 4 Sinclair Digital.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chairman, Renata, you want to take that one?
As you all may recall, at the last meeting, we had Susie Fontenot with KFDM. She actually did a full presentation and presented 2 proposals to you guys, Proposal A and Proposal B. We're asking tonight if you guys would look at Proposal A and Proposal B and hopefully choose to select one so that we could actually market in the California market. I don't know if you guys may recall, but about 10 months ago, Mr. Baptiste and I, we actually went to California on a business mission trip, and the target was to market Port Arthur in that particular market because people in California are willing to relocate to Texas, preferably Port Arthur. And he and I, we actually had a chance to sit down and talk with some of these businesses that are interested, and we've had a couple of follow-up, maybe one follow-up with one in particular. So we're just asking that you guys make a decision and choose Proposal A or Proposal B.
What's your recommendation?
Honestly, I'm going to recommend Proposal A, which is the impression total, because what's going to happen is they're going to give us banner production at no charge, and they're going to provide us with a monthly report. And as a business recruiter, my goal is to actually send information about Port Arthur to people outside the area to try to get them to come back to this area to actually build and invest in our community. So I would recommend Proposal A, because Proposal B, if you look at Proposal B, it's doing something a little bit different. It's actually doing an email blast. You know, some people in our field, they don't have time to read emails, but I feel that the banners, like if say you're on a page, say it's the city of Port Arthur, well, our banner, Build It, Ship It, Rail It, will show up, and, you know, it'll give them a little tidbit of what it is that we do, and they can click on it, and if they're interested in our area, they can write up a request, or I'll be able to track it through the impressions, because I'll get a report, and through that report, I'll be able to send out my documentation to that California market, and the goal is the California market. I'm not trying to target any other markets right now, just for the simple fact that California, they're wanting to come to Texas.
Do they guarantee their program and stand behind it?
Yes, sir.
What's the guarantee?
They're saying that they're saying at least 95%.
And so if they don't get that, they're going to give us our money back?
That I don't know.
Well, we need to find out.
Yeah, that I don't know. One is proposed for like 4,500, and the other is a lot more.
I see them, yeah.
But I would recommend the lesser amount.
I want to know if they stand behind it, if they guarantee it. I mean, you know, if it's good, they stand behind their work, fine.
I've worked with Susie in the past, and she's a very, how can I put it? She's behind her word, and I know that her work speaks for itself.
She can't speak for the company.
But she can't speak for the company. But
Okay, that's all
okay.
I'll make a motion. I don't have any questions. I'm gonna make a motion.
I was going to ask about the impact on the budget, but since you made the recommendation, we're good. I move that we accept the recommendation and go with proposal A.
It's been moved and second to proceed with proposal A. All those in question?
Well, did he get a second? Somebody second it? Okay,
Yes.
you second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
No.
Motion carries. We'll get that information for you, Mr. Stickley. Agenda item number 5, to discuss for possible consideration authorizing the first renewal of the agreement with Joey's Tractor Service for the grass cutting at the Spur 93 Business Park.
Yes, Madam Chairman, Commissioners, last year at this time, we entered into a contract with Joey Tractor Service for the grass cutting at Spur 93. The contract allow us to extend this contract for 3 additional one-year period, and what we asking you guys to do is extend it for 1 year, additional year.
Motion on the floor. May we have a motion? Go ahead, question.
Mr. Baptiste, you're totally satisfied with this?
I am totally satisfied with Joey.
I make a motion that we extend the contract for 1 year.
Second.
There's a motion and second to approve extending the contract for Joey's Tractor Service for 1 year. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 6, to discuss for possible consideration authorizing the first renewal of agreement with Affordable Lawn and Tractor Service for the grass cutting at the Highway 73 Business Park.
Yes, Madam Chairman and Commissioner, again, Affordable Lawn Care, they do the landscaping at the 73 Business Park, the park across from the library, and they also have a 1-year contract with an option to renew for 2 additional 1-year period. We're asking you guys to renew that contract also.
Move we can do it.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve extending the contract with Affordable Lawn Tractor Service. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 6, to discuss for possible consideration entering into an economic retention and expansion agreement with Motion Industries.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I would like to remove that agenda item until next board meeting.
Okay, agenda item number 7 will be removed and brought back at the next meeting. Agenda item number 8, to discuss for possible consideration the terms and conditions of an economic incentive with AWC.
Yes, Madam Chairman, board members, you have a package. AWC, they sent their letter of intent. Last board meeting, you guys approved it, move forward on the application. They made a request for $100,000. Ran the impact on just job creation because they're going to occupy a current building, so everything going to be based upon job creation. Running the numbers on job creation just show $116,000. And the impact will show you the return on your investment. It shows you that they propose to hire 10 new people. Of those 10 new people, we still have to determine the number of Port Arthur residents. The average salary is about $65,000. Your return on your investment is in 1 year. So I'm going to recommend the $100,000 instead of the $116,000 because that's all they asked for.
You said that you're not sure about the citizens that's going to be hired in Port Arthur?
Normally, I'll go through a matrix with these people because these are high technical jobs, and they tell me of the 10 people that they're going to hire, how many folks will actually be Port Arthur resident. And I base my payroll based upon that Port Arthur resident, because when I do payroll, it's only on Port Arthur resident. But what we have in our agreement that the lawyer will prepare if you guys approve this thing is what we call a first source of referral, meaning that anytime they hire anyone, they have to come to us first. And we make the referral. They interview the applicant. They tell us the plus or the minus of the applicant. Port authors have the first right to be refused the job. But I don't have all the, they haven't given me the numbers of port author residents they expect to hire. Because one of the positions is a salesperson. You know, and I can't say that person's going to be a port author resident.
Okay.
I haven't heard from them.
So one position is sales, and then there'd be 9 other positions. What skill sets are required for those?
I got it on the application on my desk. They kind of, what they do, they service valves,
Right.
you know, so it's that type of skill set.
Okay, so we're talking about, in some cases, instrumentation or pipe fitting, those type skills.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that would encompass all of those jobs, or are you talking about maybe some in distribution, warehousing, that type thing?
Well, there was a couple of warehouse jobs. I think it was
Okay.
2 warehouse jobs. A lot of them was VAB techs.
Right.
And, I have all the numbers. I just didn't attach it to this, though. But it is working with valves and instruments, you know.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Batista, are they occupying a building that we own?
There was Pin Air, formerly Tyco, was leasing a building from Clay Development in the business park. Pin Air moved to another location. Tyco still owned the building, but Tyco gonna lease through the duration of their lease to this guy. And I think what I'm hearing is that they want to buy the building and expand it. And it's a 3-year lease they're going to have with these guys. And then after that, if business is good, they're going to purchase that building.
Let me ask you a question. It's not related, but do we own the property? Do they lease just the property from us and they build their own building?
No, they purchased the property.
They also purchase the property, so those properties are owned individually.
Yes, sir. The way it works, Commissioner, is if a company decides to close, and we have first right of refusal to purchase back.
Gotcha. Got it.
Other questions or comments? Motion, please.
Move we go ahead and approve?
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve agenda item number 8. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion. One opposition. Motion carries. Mr. Smith opposed the item. Agenda item number 9, to discuss for possible consideration a letter of intent from Park Enterprise for certain infrastructural improvements which will promote or develop new or expanded business enterprises.
Yes, Madam Chairman and Commissioners, you guys in your package receive a letter from Park Shopping Center located at 6979th Avenue. I think the primary building going to be a pharmacy, and there's 2 other businesses that will be attached to this particular business. They say it's 6,000 square foot facility, and they're asking for infrastructure. With the economic development law, we could assist with infrastructure, providing infrastructure so that anything that business need to get was permitted by the city, we could help them with water line, we could help them with concrete and signage, We cannot go inside the building, but we could bring the electricity and the water line to the building. So normally, what we do when we get into agreement like this for you guys is based upon the square footage, we determine what percent of the infrastructure going to be occupied per square footage. And I'm just going to say, if the pharmacist was A and the two other businesses was B and C, then 60% of the incentive may go to A, and 20% may go to B, and 20% may go to C. They do not receive the incentive from you guys until they receive a certificate of occupancy in that particular building. But it's strictly a letter of intent right now. Question?
We don't know how many people you're going to employ, or
Well, when infrastructure, we don't look at
we
employment.
don't know. Okay, I got you.
What is she asking for?
For infrastructure.
Oh, infrastructure, okay,
Right.
all right.
Right.
Water lines and
Right.
such.
120.
I got
Water line, maybe a electrical line, maybe concrete.
But she doesn't have an amount or anything? She doesn't?
I think there, I did see an amount in here,
$283,000.
283,000. But it's all based, that's not, I can't tell you what it's gonna be right now, you know what I mean? Until we work the numbers.
I move we go ahead and let him look at the numbers on it and report back to us.
Again?
He moved that we go, he's going to, we're giving Mr. Baptiste the authority to go ahead and review how much we would be able to provide for this business for that.
Okay. So we're actually
So-
just doing due diligence right
We're
now.
doing due
We're
diligence.
just investigating it now.
Okay.
And it will
So
come
motion-
back to you guys in the form of a
Okay,
contract, Madam Chairman.
I second.
So motion and second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Agenda item number 10, to discuss for possible consideration requesting City Council approval for PAEDC to enter into an agreement with Zach Tax to provide analytical services for sales tax data.
Yes, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. I have been working with the interim financial director for about 2 months. There's Zach Tax produced a software that, they analyze your sales tax. And it kind of tell you who's paying your sales tax, what part of the city your sales tax coming from, who's not paying your sales tax, some sales tax are paid directly to the controller, but it gives us a true picture of what's going on, and I think it's a good tool for us to have for economic development to know where our sales tax dollars coming from and when it's up and when it's down, what part of the city is growing, see how the city is growing, seeing how sales tax. The reason why I'm coming to you guys is because the way the system it works is we get sales tax from the city, which, we tax at 1.5%, the city of Port Arthur. We get that half cent. The proposal have been sent to the manager. He have not signed it. And I think it's an excellent tool for us to know what's going on with, or where our money coming from, or where, and that's why I'm coming to you guys to go directly to the council and ask the council to allow us to purchase this thing. It's $5,000 a year.
So, Mr. Baptiste, the city don't have a tracking system of how they get their sales tax?
They get a dollar amount. They don't know where it come from. This software will tell you how much sales tax Boston Shoe Store, how much sales tax each business contribute to your
So
economy.
how would that impact us?
It would just let us know where our sales tax coming from, and it also would tell us if sales tax are up or down, how our business is doing. Because most businesses they operate on sales tax. They pay sales tax. It's an economic development tool, so that we could know the strength of our community and the strength of our businesses out there.
Oh, is this a recommendation also of the interim finance director for the city?
That person's gone.
Okay.
Oh, it was a recommendation, yes, yes. And one of the things it would help the city with, a lot of time the city have what you call unaudited finance. They don't know who's not paying, but this software will tell us who's not paying.
Then the software would benefit the city,
Oh,
too.
yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
I mean,
we're trying to split
primarily.
the deal, you know, but
We're trying to cut through red tape? Pretty
That's
much.
right.
I move we go ahead and go with it.
Okay, before we vote on it, the city, prior to this recommendation from this particular entity, how did we track? We didn't track it?
Sir.
We didn't know how much sales tax?
we know how much sales tax
But
in
we didn't
dollars,
know
but we
where it
don't
was
know
coming
where it's coming from. We just had a dollar value.
So how would they go back and say that the sales tax was not paid? I mean, how would they know that if they didn't have a way of tracking that?
Question?
Mr. Stickley, you may.
Probably that company goes to the comptroller's office and sees who looks at their reports and their tax
Right.
returns.
You're
But
right,
what that
Mr.
tells us,
Stickley.
it gives us, is business A doing 10 times the business the same business B is doing, maybe we can help business B out, or maybe, there's, it gives you who's your strong companies and who's your weak companies.
The unlike your property tax, which the county obviously know who is paying and who is not, with sales tax, the comptroller is in charge of it. So they have to alert each retail or business entity how much sales tax they have to collect. For instance, in some areas outside of a city limit, they only have to collect 6%, whereas other places it's 8%, and that's the comptroller. So the city gets a report showing what the sales tax was, but they don't get Lowe's collected this much sales tax for that year. And the city has no authority to enforce a retail to collect sales tax. That's all with the state of Texas and the Texas comptroller. The city doesn't have the authority to do that. The comptroller does. So I think what Mr. Batiste is saying is this will show you where people are shopping basically in the Port Arthur area. Is it in downtown Port Arthur, or is it more along 365, et cetera? So that's, I think, and really after Hurricane Harvey, I think this is a good tool because it'll show you what businesses open back up after the hurricane and which ones have not opened back up.
But how does it enhance what we're doing? You hadn't explained that to me. I mean, just to know, how does that enhance us? I mean, we paying out $5,000 for what? Just to know something?
Yes,
How does it enhance what we're doing here?
Well, for economic purpose, it's always good to know what your business and your community, how well your business is doing. In economic development, we have what we call retention, expansion, retaining a business, looking at, you'd be able to compare this thing 3-5 years, and you could see the growth of a company, or if it's going down. Then I could say to Crystal, I say, you need to focus and see what's going on over here. Right now, I can't tell you that. I can't tell you what business is doing well or doing bad. And that our job is to grow business and grow our tax base. And having that information allow us to actually see the whole picture.
So actually, we're not as concerned about who's paying taxes. We're more concerned about who's not paying taxes from our perspective, so that we can target those companies and assist them? Is that,
Well, that's part of the tool, but it's also give us a better idea of how our businesses are doing. You know, because if sales, is, you know, it's going to compare your sales tax from 2016 to 2017 to 2000. Is there growth in that business? Why? If yes, doing good. If there's no growth, why not? Then we as economic development need to look at what's going on here, you know? Because the next thing you know, it may be closing. So our job is to have the information so that we could interject into that business whatever resources that's available for us to help that business before it falls. And it just gives us a better picture.
yeah, Mr. Stickley?
Another thing that I can see where it really helps us is when we're looking, which we've done in the last meeting, looking at giving an incentive to a business that's been here a long time to stay here and not move out of our city. With that tool, we can actually see what we're actually getting from them in the form of our share of the sales tax. Know who's paying our bills.
That's a very good point. Very good point. So, I mean, which would help us to determine whether or not we
Exactly,
want
whether
to do
they're worthy
it,
or
whether
not.
they're
Yeah,
worth
absolutely.
us fighting and giving money to.
Yeah. Let's just know who's paying us to be here.
And Commissioner, you know, yes, it is 5,000. You know, we were trying to split the cost with the city. And when I was looking at it, I was looking at $2,500 from this group. But, you know, I don't know if the city gonna, you know, we cannot get it. The city have to sign off because the sales tax goes to the city, you know. But we could have access to this information, but they would have to sign off with the state controller releasing that data to these folks so that they could analyze it for us.
So, I'm sorry, Mrs. Smith?
So the city of Port Arthur decided not to do that.
If the city of, well, they have not, they just have not, what, they haven't done anything. And I like to have that, you know, I think it's good information for us, not only for EDC, but for the city also. I just think it's a good
If
tool.
we approve this, it goes back to the council for approval,
sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
And they've already said they didn't want to do it
No, at the administrative level.
at the administrative level?
Right.
Madam Chairman, I agree. You know, if our main source of funding is sales tax, that is our source of funding. We need to know everything about it we can. And too much information is not a bad thing. I agree with it.
I think, can we ensure, like you said, though, can we ensure that we get the information? So, you know, because only the city can go into an agreement and gather the information. Can we be assured that we will get that information?
Yeah, we will get the information.
And we
Yes,
can
ma'am.
be assured of that because we're going to put that in the resolution?
Yes, ma'am. And once we sign that agreement, I will be able to provide you guys on a monthly basis exactly, you know, I won't give you a whole report, but I could show you the top 20 taxpaying company in this community. Y'all will be able to see that.
This is a one-year agreement?
It's a one-year agreement, right?
There is a motion on the floor.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve agenda item number 10. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, we'll move on to reports. Marketing and business recruitment report.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I'm going to start off this evening by, if you guys would direct your attention to the back, I'm going to show you this is a business recruitment video that Mr. Baptiste and ourselves, we've been working on, and I'll show it to you guys. Bear with me. Every time. Okay, give me a minute. I'm gonna go through my report and then I'm gonna come back and try it again. But basically, I received communication on August 22nd from Global Trade Magazine. Global Trade Magazine is a magazine that we've actually advertised in probably before my time, but I know within the last 4.5 years, we've actually did business with them. And on last week, I got a communication stating that congratulations. Last week, I told you that we were working on the best cities for global trade for our October-November edition. I am pleased to announce that Port Arthur EDC is Port Arthur is one of those cities. So this is something to be really, really proud of. It's a really, really good magazine. It touches the hands of many decision makers, economic developers, and so forth. Also, FDI Alliance was just featured at the IEDC conference in Toronto. And in this particular magazine, we actually have our marketing campaign, which is the Build It, Ship It, Rail It. And also the guy behind the actual magazine, Courtney Margison, he actually gave a shout out to EDC because we were one of the first economic development organizations to actually partake in his magazine. And this particular magazine is backed by the International Economic Development Council, so something to be proud of. And then I'm gonna see if this comes on again. Close it out. This is really, really weird because all day this was working and looks like every time I get up to do my report, it sticks. So hopefully it'll come up by the time everybody else does their report. But it's a really, really neat video, and it's something that I feel like all of you guys need to see because this is a way to market and develop our city and our business part.
Thank you. Operational report?
Evening again. Okay, to give you a little snapshot of our training programs, Team Industries is now complete with their higher level welding program. They have completed their classes, have trained 36 students, so they are now complete. They have talked about possibly entering into another agreement that's still in the works. They haven't said whether they want to move forward with it just yet or not. So if they plan to, we'll definitely come back to you with that option. Lamar State College Port Arthur's CDL program is ongoing. They are constantly training students. We are working in conjunction with the Texas Workforce Commission as well. So a lot of those students are receiving funding from the Texas Workforce. Now, just to let you all know, they do go through the Workforce Commission first to see if they can receive training grant through them first. Those they don't approve there, then they come through us and we say whether or not they are approved. So Port Arthur residents are receiving training ongoing there at Lamar State College. Program of Health Excellence, which is a training program that you all approved some time ago. Their contract is coming up to an end in December. Unfortunately, they were not ready to move forward, so they have not utilized any of the funds yet for training. So December might roll around and we may just have to close out that contract without having used any funds for training with them. The second floor build-out, CTEX contract and the engineering contract that you all approved last meeting went before the council. It was approved, so hopefully you'll see construction start up pretty soon on the second floor, and we can get some more tenants up there. The movie screen for the outside of the building, the final shop drawings have been complete, and CTEX should be moving forward with that as well. So pretty soon we'll have that movie screen up. KLV's incentive, which is also another agreement that you all approved last board meeting. It did go before council. It has been approved, so we will start executing that contract and move forward with the incentive agreement with KLV. And that is all I have for you tonight. Do you have any questions?
I've got a couple of questions. On the CDL drive, how many persons did we train? Did Lamar train?
How many have gone through it?
Yeah.
This last fiscal year, we've trained, I'd say, right about 20.
20?
We funded 20 students.
We funded 20?
Right.
Okay. And
Commissioner, the way that work is the partnership that we have with TWC. The first option is TWC's money. When TWC does not have the money or they do not qualify for TWC and they're Port Arthur residents, then we kick in.
And the reason I asked that question is there was a couple of members of my church that came to me and asked me about the program, and I sent them down there, and they actually are participating. I know one was getting ready, thought he was about to finish.
Uh-huh.
And so do you know when it's a what? It's a 10, 12-week?
It's a 3-month program, so
Right,
yes,
12-week
12-week program.
So do you know how many have finished, completed the program?
Completed, we've had about 15. I know they have 5 new ones that are starting. Every month they start a new class, so that every month they're bringing in new students, and then they go on for 3 months. They just keep them rolling.
And once they complete, do we or does LU track that where they are employed?
We have talked to Lamar about that. We weren't tracking before, but we are trying to get Dr. Stafford to, and he is in agreement with us that we need to start tracking. So we are trying to follow up with some of those students.
Okay, that would be some information that I would like to.
And Commissioner, let me jump in there. I will tell you, Dr. Stafford worked very hard prior to enrolling those folks to have places for them to go to work.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying everybody, I'm not sure,
Yeah.
but I know he works very hard trying to get folks jobs before they even enroll. You know, he's being very proactive.
That 20 that went through us, not necessarily the
Correct.
that we took care.
Right.
So
Those are the ones that
TDC did. I mean, there's probably a lot more than that. Then
Oh, yes, definitely.
Okay, yeah.
Because a
And
lot do receive funding from Texas
yeah,
Workforce.
the demand is huge for CDL drivers. It's just huge.
Going back to the first one, you said we had 36 people that finished the program. And my question was, do we track them beyond that to see how many people are getting jobs? How many of the Port Arthur residents are getting jobs? Or that's all we do. We fund the program and then that's it. We don't know who's getting jobs or what.
The
Commissioner?
the program that you're speaking of, the Team Industries program, they are actually employed with Team Industries. They are an employer trainer, so they become employed there whenever they receive their training.
And the other thing that we do, Commissioner, I think probably was about 60 days ago, we actually we have what we call a memorandum of understanding with TWC, or we could go look into wage earners, their wages, and look, and we brought that before you guys, because some of these guys, they don't stay with the same company, but we could track their wages from the time they start training to 60 days from the date we look, because it takes 60 days for TWC to catch up. So we know what the wages are, and we know how much money they make. And that's, TWC provides us all that information.
I'd just like to have a report because
Well, we
I
gave you
just
guys a report on each entity each training, and we could provide you with a copy of the last one. And I think the board said once every 6 months or once a year, but we go in there and pull wages on people, and we have provided to the board.
And I believe TWC did provide me, I want to say I saw the email come through today with that updated information. So we did contact them about receiving information. So we can't tell where they went to work if they did leave Team Industries, but we can tell if they are working by TWC's wage data.
And let me clarify that. We don't ask them where they work. TWC could tell us where they work, but we're just looking at the wages. Because if they earn wages, they're working.
Any other questions for Crystal?
That's anywhere in the state of Texas.
Anywhere in the state of Texas, that's correct.
Any other questions? Thanks, Crystal. We'll move on to the financial report.
Good evening, Board.
Thank you, Rachel.
I'm going to hand out the information for you guys tonight.
Thank you.
Good evening. If we look at our first sheet, the first handout that I handed to you, the very front sheet, this is an unaudited total of where we are right now at the end of this fiscal year. These numbers most likely will change due to a couple of adjustments that will be made by the accounting department. Sometimes it takes somewhere between the middle of October before our numbers are kind of final, where we can see where we stand. But right now, this is an actual projection of where we say we should be at this point. Our total sales tax, well, I'm going to go through the revenue. Our total taxes is $3,236,864. Our interest revenue is $37,411. Our loan repayment is $28,986. Our rental income, you will see from your last month numbers, went up slightly. We have new tenants in the building, so that's what is increasing that number. So we projected a lower number, and we're actually at $31,305. The business park revenue, $46,213. We projected land sales at the beginning of the year, fiscal year. Well, not at the beginning. It was to Henna, where we were supposed to sell 10 acres of land. That did not happen. It would have resulted in a revenue of $575,000, but that will not happen this fiscal year. So that's why that amount went to zero. Your miscellaneous is $295,293,000 for a total revenue of $3,676,072. Our expenditures for this year is $2,964,076. Our excess over revenue is $711,996. We have a debt service that we have to of $1,167,015 will give us a net change in fund balance of a negative $455,019. Our fund balance at the beginning of the year was $9,774,056. Our fund balance at the end of the year, $9,319,037. Our current remaining year budget is $2,562,054. Our projected end of the year budget, $6,756,983. That will be our fund balance beginning of the year of 2018. Now, we also have some adjustments. If you look at the last page here.
Rachel, let me just explain, because I got a whole bunch of new members. Where Rachel had me here transfer out, those are bond payment that we making. Those of you who don't know, like the streets to the hospital, all the infrastructure, EDC paid for that, okay? And I think a lot of this is going to go away in 2024. For the business park, when they first went up with the business park, they went out for bond. And every year we pay about $1.2 million in debt service for that infrastructure we bought for the streets at the hospital. What's the name of the hospital?
Medical center.
Medical
Medical
Center.
Center. And also for the development of the purchase of land and the South Business Park Drive and Jade Avenues. That's where that money comes from, for these new guys.
I had a question. What is the miscellaneous revenue, what that consists of?
We actually consist of anything that doesn't really have a designated line item. We had actual sale of some inventory. Those profits go into that miscellaneous account. We also, anything that is, let's see.
The money you receive from
The microloan.
501 money is in here. The microloan money is
Right.
miscellaneous. We don't
Any-
have line items.
So it's made up of a number of things. If you would like to know what those are, you could visit with me in my office, and I could actually show you exactly what make up those numbers for the fiscal year. Okay. One more thing I do need to point out to you. If you look on that last page where the year-to-date balance for 16-17, in the orange way at the bottom, that $3,729,069, from that amount, we'll be subtracting that debt service. And also, we are going to be moving some funds from fiscal year 2017 into 18 in our building account and also our development account. So we'll be increasing that budget by $510,309 for next year.
Okay, what Rachel is saying, if you look at your development account, which is on the second page of this deal here, I think that's 56 or 50 what?
5901.
5901. We budget 1.5 million. This year, we still have in that account 973. We thought we was gonna pay KLV this fiscal year. We're gonna pay them next fiscal year, so we're gonna take that money and put it in the next fiscal year. Okay, so that 1.5 million gonna be 1.8 million. And the other change was the building.
120. Yeah, the building.
Right, we thought we was gonna have this second floor constructed this year. The money is in last year's budget, so we're gonna move the money from last year. We only budgeted 30,000, it's gonna be 210,000 for the construction of the second floor. Is that right, Rachel? Did I say it right?
Yes, you did. Yeah, are there any questions? When we come back in October, we'll be able to get a real good look at what really happened in the fiscal year. So at that time, we'll be able to give you more exact numbers. If you have any questions, or if you don't have any questions, that will be all for me tonight.
Well, I think you need to let them know, because this is probably the last time they're gonna see 17 budget, how much of that money is unspent and you're gonna carry over to your fund balance. And what I'm saying here, guys, if you look at what Rachel was talking about, at 3.729, if you subtract the $1,160,415, because that's your debt service, that's going to come out of that number. The other thing going to come out of that number is the 326,000 and the 100 and the 500,000. So there's about $2 million
It adjusted it to $2,051,745.
that's going to go into your fund balance that we did not spend last year.
So the fund balance going for years.
Yeah, we're solid. We're going in a great direction, and I'm sorry.
How much is the fund balance?
Well, this is a projection. That's the 2,051,745 that, right. Any questions?
What about the monies for streets that hadn't been spent?
If you look at next year's budget, where we have streets in here. On the very last page, we budgeted $1.2 million to spend next year. That's for the business park street. Is that the street?
I was talking about the monies
These
that
streets.
we, for city.
Oh, that's gone.
It's gone.
It's gone. Yes, sir.
And that was required to be spent before September 30th, right?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice evening.
Thank you, Rachel. Mr. Baptiste, your report?
The only good news we had, well, it's not good, it is good news. I think the 5th, which is one day this week, Wednesday,
Wednesday?
we have some folks from Canada
Thursday.
that are going to be down here at Lamar, who, with Chenier, they're looking at, you guys know that we've been trying to get a training facility here. So I think there'll be some discussion between myself and Chenier trainers and Lamar State College for training LNG operators. I think that could be a big thing for Port Arthur, Texas. That's about other than that is hurricane time.
That it
Hurricane
is.
relief.
That it is, hurricane relief. Rachel, you want to try your video? I said Rachel, I'm sorry, Renata. I said, I'm looking at Renata.
We're going to attempt it one more time.
Third time is a charm, right? It would be great if you could work it out while we're in executive session.
I have it on another disc.
Okay,
So what I'll
that'll
do is
give you an
I'll pull it.
opportunity to do that.
Okay.
This time, I'd ask the board to adjourn to executive session.
We need to give David Ball Audience Member of the Month.
Then they can really make you
The only audience member here of Port Arthur News.
I know. Great to have the.
Congratulations, David, you won the prize. You're the audience member of the month. The only member of the audience.
I'm a Redskins fan.
Who they playing? Oh, okay. Yeah, see, Aaron, yeah, Aaron.
I'm not really a foot Cowboys fan. This time, we'd like to call the meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Daryl Anderson, John Sharafis, Joseph Guillory, Kenneth Marks.
Here.
Richard Wyckoff, Warren Pena, Dallas Smith.
Here.
Ingrid Holmes.
Here.
David Stickling. Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Is Renata around?
Before
Okay.
Renata start, Madam Chairman, Kate, could they approve that motion with the changes that you want them suggested?
Verse 3.
to exceed $133,000.
Have a motion, please?
So move.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve agenda item number 3. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. At this time, we'll ask for our presentation. That will be the conclusion of our meeting.
I will start the video. This concludes the video. As you can see, we have a very beautiful business park, and I just want to let you guys know that when I attended the Logistics Development Forum in Vail, Colorado in August, this particular video was actually given to every site selector that I actually met with, so they can kind of take it all in of what we have to offer. It's a beautiful business park.
Thank you, Renata. It is a great video. It really is really nice. And that's what we hope Port Arthur will be. Okay. Any other comments or questions from any of the other board members? This time, we'd like to adjourn the meeting for the night.
Move the meeting be adjourned.
Oh, thank you.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and second to adjourn the meeting tonight. Any opposition? You all have a good evening.